What a great day to have a crypto live show. It is Wacky Wednesday here with the Investing Bros. Welcome in, everybody. We've got a great one lined up for you guys today. The good news is all of the good charts have a bunch of green candles right now, a lot of bullish candles. All of the bad charts have bearish candles. That's what you want to see. The discussion, though, we have been talking about this for a long time, but it's heated up over the last 2 weeks. Altcoin season, when is it coming? What's it going to look like? What do we need to see in the news? And what do we need to see on the charts to potentially begin to call an altcoin season? Everything is trending in the right direction. We're going to be talking about some recent news coming out. The Genius Act failed last night, had a great vote today. What's happening tomorrow will determine what the future of the Genius Act looks like. We also have a rumor coming from the White House that a letter has been written to potentially fire Jerome Powell. Now, even though there's been some denials of this rumor, we're going to get into the details of what that could look like. Also, we're going to have some fun discussion later in the show. What do you plan to do with your crypto gains at the top of this bull market? Do not go anywhere. Stick around for the entire show. Smash the like button right now. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. All right, let's go. Welcome into the show, everybody. I am joined today by Smay, Seabert Visuals. You're saying, is this pre-recorded? Well, how would I read your comment if this was pre-recorded? No, this is live. This is the one day a week that we go live. Hey, you know what? If views begin to increase, if people start coming back in droves, we might go back to, I don't know about 5 days a week, but maybe more than one live show per week. If you want to see more than one live show here on YouTube, put a 1 in chat right now. We're live every single day over in the VIP trading group. But if you want to see more here on YouTube, maybe you're not quite ready to commit to our VIP trading group, that's okay. That's completely okay. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let us know if you want to see more than one live show a week. And if you would attend. Well, one of the reasons why we scaled back is because attendance started to wane off a little bit. So if you guys are ready for more than one live show a week, let us know. We'll consider it. Can't promise it, but we'll consider it. You'll notice Smay is here with me. My good friend Smay. No T-Shroom today. T-Shroom is at the moment, I even believe, on the road. He is moving to Virginia. I'm very jealous. I wish I was moving to Virginia. I love Virginia. It is my home state. But for some of you who know Jerome, I almost said Jerome Powell. T-Shroom, his wife is a travel physical therapist. And so she got a new contract up in Virginia. And so they are in the process of moving. He'll be back at his workstation tomorrow. But for today, he has the day off. It is just me and Smay. So in the chat, if you guys love T-Shroom, give him some love in chat. I'm sure he will try to tune in later if he can. He'll probably read back through comments. Let him know how much you love him. As for Smay, he's here. He's present. He's getting a haircut tomorrow, matching my haircut from earlier this week. What do you think? What do you think? You know, match it up, Smay. How you doing?
I think it's great. I think I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna do the little.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
it looks.
Do the deep, like a trend line type of deal going on.
Listen, I'm already. Look, you see this? You see? Look, where's it going?
It's going. It's
gone. So, guys, I've hit that age where now I'm losing my hair, and you know what? I have no grief over this. You won't see me doing any of those derma rollers or minoxidil. I am letting it go. Gone with the wind, as they say, Tim. But yes,
as they say,
I am doing great though.
That's very good. Very good to hear. You know, Smay, here's the thing. We're about to get into the crypto content. Usually I got T-Shroom going back and forth with me. You're going to have to pick up the slack here. You're going to have to engage with me. Give me some feedback on some things. I'm going to ask you your thoughts on things from time to time in the show. You guys in chat as well. Make sure you're dropping your thoughts, your questions. Smay, keep an eye on that chat. Make sure if there's any good questions, let me know. Give me a little ring of that bell for practice. Let's do the ring the bell just so people can hear it. That means something important just came up. There we go. Something important came up. Keep me posted on what's happening. Guys, if you're ready to go into the content, make sure right now, smash that like button. Let's go over to my screen. Before we get into the news, let's just look at the charts and see what's going on here today. Great stuff here. Bitcoin, after breaking out and getting as high as 123,000 over the weekend, it did have a little bit of a pullback. If you were in our, I don't even think you have to be in the VIP trading group for this. We talked about this in a video last week, how Bitcoin could pull back all the way back down. I think we said 116. Big reason for that is because that's where the 4-hour smart trail was coming into the top of it. We went a little lower, went down here to 115,721. So we missed it by about $300, right? But we talked about that potential pullback. However, Bitcoin is making a little bit of a move to the upside. We're going to come back and do some more Bitcoin technical analysis later on in the show, but I wanted to show you this because the significance of Bitcoin moving positively over the last couple of days. Again, we kissed back up over 120 here, or did we? I don't know if we officially got above 120. I think we kissed it around the mouth. It says there in the last 4-hour candle, we have hit 120,000. And then we rejected, came back down. But being back up to 119.5 even right now, that's a bullish sign for Bitcoin. This is amazing, though. If you go over and take a look at the Bitcoin Dominance Chart, take a look at what's happening here. And this is one of the biggest things we're monitoring right now for potential altcoin season. The Bitcoin Dominance is collapsing. And what I love is that Bitcoin is climbing. Altcoins are just climbing faster. One of the biggest reasons Bitcoin dominance is falling right now, despite the fact the price is actually bullish today, is because of this chart right here. Ethereum back up above 3,300 for the first time since all the way back here in January of 2025, right? So we are now in July. We're more than halfway through the year, and we already are back up to the early stages here. Ethereum's got a long way to go to the upside before anyone's, raving and going crazy. But we've told you over and over again on this channel, the early signs of altcoin season. Number one, it's going to be Ethereum making a run. Number two, it's making that matchup. If Ethereum's going up and Bitcoin dominance is going down, those are the early stages of altcoin season. So when I look at this chart and I see ETH going crazy, and then I look at this chart, I see Bitcoin dominance starting to collapse, losing support. I still want to see it break below support we had back here in May, below 62%, but we are heading in the right direction. Several other altcoins, by the way, are also doing phenomenally. I'm looking at XRP today, back up over $3. Solana back up over 170. Chainlink back up, rivaling. Did it get above $17? It did. We actually temporarily on Chainlink, we're back above $17. ONDO is rivaling, getting close to that dollar figure once again. Cardano back up, flirting with 80 cents. SUI's on a little bit of a pause today, but SUI's been on a run here, and we talked about 2 weeks ago, a move up here to $4. So if you were trading with us, you had a great SUI trade here. It is paused today, right? Not doing a whole lot. It's technically actually down 2% since the daily candle opened, but it is still a part of that group that is rallying here. So also let me know. We had some Wi-Fi issues earlier. I did see myself lag a little bit. So if you see me lagging throughout the show, as long as we stay live, an hour before the show started, my Wi-Fi was completely out. My internet was out. So I'm just glad to be here with you guys. I might be a little laggy here today. But in a nutshell, altcoins are doing phenomenally. And all of that, Bitcoin's not doing too bad itself. It's up 1.5% of the day, but it's still keeping this extremely bullish structure. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal news if you're an altcoin fan. And we'll come back and look at some charts that you guys want to take a look at later. At the moment, though, charts going to the upside as a whole. Our favorite chart to go downside, though, it is absolutely doing it. Bitcoin dominance is falling down. Let's get into some details, though. Why is this happening? What is the biggest news stories of the day that are affecting the crypto markets as a whole? Let's actually start with this morning. A very confusing report because yesterday, inflation numbers came out at 2.7%, higher than what it was last month. And there was a lot of confusion, and I might get into the news here. PPI is lower today, but I want to make sure I'm setting the stage correctly here. Inflation comes out at 2.7%. Conveniently, a lot of bears get up there and say, oh, inflation's going back up. You have a lot of people talking about how inflation's higher, until you realize all expectations were that it was that inflation was going to be at 2.7%. So if you're wondering, why did we not have a collapse yesterday, despite the fact that inflation came in at 2.7% up from last month, it's because that was the expectation. Well, when you come and you look at US PPI, that actually is favorable. It came in at 2.3% lower, than expectations. And what's significant is in the past, the Fed has claimed, at least, to really respect the PPI numbers. Not that they're not looking at the overall inflation numbers, but PPI is one of the biggest things that the Fed actually looks at to determine, is inflation stagnant? Is it going up? Is it coming down? So the fact that it actually came out lower than expectation, more favorable, should bode in the right direction of saying that the Fed should cut rates soon, right? We'll talk more about details on that story later. Ultimately, what you need to know is, no, this really hasn't swung. Take my face off here for a second, Smay, because people need to see this chart. According to CME futures predictions, we still got a 97.4% chance that July no cuts happen. Right now, we're going to have to keep the story pending because there is something later on in the show I want to talk about that still has to do with rate cuts. But at the moment, July is still saying no rate cuts. Even September, it's predicting technically we should get one, but with 42.5% predictions still saying we could stay paused, this is way too close for comfort. September is by no means a guarantee, which, bring my face back up here, brings us back to this tweet and saying, this is what's going to show some inconsistencies and inconsistent thoughts from Jerome Powell and the Fed, whereas in the past, once again, they have so said we are data-driven, data-driven, data-driven. And when one of the interviewers comes in and asks, well, what about the future? What happens if this happens? Could this possibly turn bad if you don't cut rates or raise rates in the future? And Jerome Powell sat there and said, we're not worried about the future right now. We're just dealing with data incoming as it comes, right? Well, something changed earlier in 2025, and all of a sudden, instead of looking at the actual data coming in the here and now, he all of a sudden is forward thinking. He's worried about potential future numbers being bad. Well, guess what? At this point, if tariffs were truly detrimental to the economy and inflation, this PPI number should have come out negative. It should have been higher. It should have at least matched expectation, if not been higher. And yet, it's coming out 2.3 lower than expectations. In theory, the Fed, if they're people of their word, they should be saying, man, the data's looking good. Tariffs aren't affecting everything. PPI is lower than expected. We should have the freedom to cut rates. Again, we'll talk more about that a little later. Doesn't seem to be what they are thinking about, but this is one of the reasons why crypto is slightly up here today. PPI coming at 2.3. That's a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a confidence, a little bit of a nudge into, hey, maybe we do see more of a reasoning for rate cuts to come sooner than later. Moving on, another big story that's kind of developed in the last 24 hours. I'm certain you guys have been tracking with this, following with this, but we need to address what is going on. This was last night. Watchdog Guru reported just in 210 Democrats and 13 Republicans voted against advancing the Crypto Genius Act and the Clarity Act and Anti-CBDC Act. Okay, so last night, there was some really bad news if you're in the world of crypto when the Genius Act, which a lot of people thought was just going to be a sure thing running on through Congress, it did not get the votes that were needed to pass. And this was like a temporary speed bump in the Genius Act, which of course will have regulation that comes with stable coins. It'll lay groundwork for what regulation looks like moving forward for the rest of the altcoin and crypto space as a whole, okay? But what was very interesting is that prices really didn't collapse last night when this happened, which made me believe, listen, this is just a temporary thing. We are going to see a response over the next couple of days to overturn this whole thing. And sure enough, today, that has changed, right? This is coming in here over the last hour. 211 Democrats voted against advancing pro-crypto legislation, but ultimately they got the yays. 215 yays coming from the Republicans, 211 Democrats voted nay. What this means is that they are now going to reconsider passing this bill. Donald Trump has already reported he has met with the 13 or was it 11? How many Republicans was it? Oh, 30. He's met with the 13 Republicans that voted against the bill. They are saying they will vote for it, and that vote is going to be coming out tomorrow. President Trump did say the Genius Act will be passed tomorrow after speaking with all the holdouts today. So look forward to that tomorrow. We'll have to wait for that, but right now a lot of things are leaning towards we think the Genius Act will officially pass. So after some temporary pullbacks and potential speed bumps, all of a sudden, we're feeling good about that passing. Let's take a quick break for a second. I want to bring Smay up here and just kind of bounce some thoughts. I'm going to get a sip of water. Smay, what are your thoughts right now? How are you feeling about this Genius Act? Tell us your hopes and dreams about it. Are you surprised that it's leaning favorably? Do you even care whatsoever? Let me get a sip. What are your thoughts?
Wow, you really just threw a lot at me, Tim. And I'm going to intercept it and do a little bit of a woo. Now that you just took a sip, I'd like to know, Tim, all the things you just asked me, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is what I said yesterday. I tweeted out, it's going to be a good day. Angel in chat said, dude, that passed already. Very confusing announcement, right? Depending on where you're looking at on X, it made it look like the Congress voted to pass it today. It's got to be very clear. Let's go back to it. If you go in and you look at the image here again, The votes, what's the votes for? On agreeing to the resolution. Where's it changes it? Oh man, there was something else. Ultimately, what they're saying is we are voting to have a revote, and that revote will officially happen tomorrow. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. For some reason, if I misread this, misinterpreted this, but everything that I've read about it in my research suggests that this vote was simply in place to revote, right? And that's going to happen tomorrow. Ultimately, I do think the Genius Act will pass. I think that'll be a major win for crypto as a whole. The bears will keep on crying. But that's another reason when you go back over to the charts, why are we rallying here today? Why is Bitcoin up? Why is crypto or ETH up? Why is XRP up? It's because some big things are happening in the crypto space that are causing people to be more bullish on these risk-on assets. Okay, that's the first story that's going on. Now, I want to transition here. Again, we're going to a little bit faster with the stories, get into TA, do some technical analysis that you guys want to do on some of your favorite altcoins. Stick around. We're going to have a discussion in a couple minutes about what you're planning to do with your crypto profits, right? Everyone's feeling a whole lot more bullish right now, but you got to have plans, right? What are you going to do with your crypto profits? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Let's move to the next story that is going to be very important here, covering another developing story that could impact the crypto markets. This was a report earlier from Watchdog Guru. Just in, President Trump drafts a letter to fire Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, according to the New York Times, right? And if you looked at other sources, it said White House staff members have said this. There was I can't remember who it was, but there was a congresswoman who was tweeting all over the place that Jerome Powell is about to get fired, right? Okay, so this caused a big, conversation and discussion over on X today. Some people rejoicing, saying goodbye, Jerome Powell. So glad to get rid of you. Other people saying, guys, you don't realize this. Donald Trump doesn't have the power to fire Jerome Powell. This isn't going to happen. This is fake, right? So there's a debate back and forth. I'll comment on that in a second. Donald Trump did weigh in. Donald Trump did come out, according to Zero Hedge. He said Trump on firing Jerome Powell, unless there is fraud with renovation. Okay, Trump is not going to fire Jerome Powell unless there's fraud with renovation. Fraud probe, I think he's got some problems. Trump also says that he thinks Powell is already under investigation. But ultimately, what you need to get away from this is Donald Trump denies the reports coming out, the rumors coming out, that he has plans to fire Jerome Powell. Go off my screen for a second. Let's kind of break this down and talk about my thoughts on the issue as a whole. Ultimately, there's two things that need to be discussed here. Number one, anyone out there saying that Donald Trump cannot fire Jerome Powell, that's not necessarily accurate. T-Shroom actually did a pretty good breakdown on this a couple of months ago. And because there's a lot of confusion when it comes to this. Technically speaking, Jerome Powell has said Donald Trump can't get rid of him. Jerome Powell has said, I'm not going to step down. I don't care what Donald Trump says. You're right that Donald Trump can't just say, I don't like Jerome Powell. I don't agree with his decision-making, so therefore I will fire him. That's not how it works. But if there is probable cause, if there's something that can be proven that Jerome Powell has acted out of line with what his job description says, if he's committed some form of a fraud, if he's done something to hurt the American people, if there is cause, with the approval of Congress, Donald Trump can relieve the chairman of the Fed of his duties. Okay? So that is a possibility. That's where this tweet kind of comes in. There is a fraud investigation going in on Jerome Powell. I can't remember what the exact number is. Maybe it was like $2.4 billion or something. Renovations that Jerome Powell ordered with taxpayer money to redo buildings within the Fed. There's an investigation into fraud. And if that comes out to have any type of stink to it whatsoever, Congress would have what they need to fire Jerome Powell. Now, go back to the rumor. Go back to the denial of the rumor from Donald Trump saying, I'm not going to fire Jerome Powell. Why do I think this is a story that's not over? I tweeted about this earlier, said this isn't over, and here's why. Some of you can say it's because Donald Trump's a liar. What I'm about to say, you might say, oh, Tim, you're saying Donald Trump's a liar. Okay, you can say that's what I'm saying. It's not really what I'm saying, because I think it's a kind of complicated matter to get into. Is this a lie or is this something else? Here's what I'll say. Donald Trump will never want you to know his next move. He doesn't want the public to know his next move. It takes away his power and ability to get things done. We know this because even within the last couple of weeks, there was a report that Donald Trump was going to bomb Iran. Well, he comes out, he denies it. Then we find out later, after the official bomb happened, Donald Trump bragged about the fact that yes, there was a leak on his plans. So he canceled his plans, told the people that's not going to happen, only to a couple of days later turn the plan back on to create surprise. Why? Because he didn't want people prepared for his next move. So if someone is out there leaking what his next move is, he's going to deny it because it takes away his power. If you know what he's going to do before he does it, it takes his power away from what he wants to do. So again, are you going to say that I'm accusing him of lying? You can say that. I don't think I'm calling it a lie. I think it is, if Donald Trump wrote that letter, he doesn't want you to know he wrote that letter. So this denial doesn't actually mean he's not planning on firing Jerome Powell. It's that he wants to keep his options open. He wants to keep his power. He wants to keep an element of surprise for if he does drop a bombshell on the American people, that he has the cause he needs to fire Jerome Powell. I ultimately want to make sure you're aware of, maybe he fires Jerome Powell, maybe he doesn't. Don't take things right now at their face value. Don't just be like, oh, he denied it, therefore it's not going to happen. That's not what that means when it comes to Donald Trump. We've seen it. We know this. Put on your thinking caps, ladies and gentlemen. This story is not over. And all this kind of wraps up into another thing. There has never been a firing or an impeachment of the chairman of the Fed in the history of its position, right? The Fed has existed since 2013. During that time period, the dollar has lost 97% of its value. Reason why we should end the Fed. But never, ever, ever in the history, in the 112 years of the existence of the Fed, never have we had a chairman be relieved of his duties. Jerome Powell does not want to be the first person to be relieved of his duties in shame. So if it does start to go that direction, that it looks like he might be guilty of fraud or there might be probable cause, don't be surprised if Donald Trump doesn't have to fire Jerome Powell, because Jerome Powell would resign before that happens, simply so he doesn't go into the history books as the first chairman of the Fed to be fired. So keep that in note. All this, of course, is leading to the biggest thing. Why is this an important topic? Because Fed Chairman Powell refuses to cut rates at this time. Without rates being cut, liquidity, it's really hard to get added liquidity into the space. Without added liquidity, it's hard to predict an altcoin season raging on because there's not the liquidity needed to buy the risky assets. If he is replaced, I've heard rumors that Bessent could be the replacement for him. I don't know if those are true necessarily or not, but I can tell you this right now, whoever replaces Jerome Powell, whether it's this year or whether it's at the end of March when he has to step down, it will be someone who will push heavily for Trump's thoughts in heavy cuts. When that does happen, we should see a massive increase in altcoins. So that's why this story is worth tracking. The story's not over. It's not simple just yet. Make sure to stay in the know, stay on X, follow Investing Bros, watch our channel. We'll let you know if something big happens with Jerome Powell and if he steps down or is fired from his position. Let's take a quick break from that conversation. Again, we will be doing charts here in a second, but I want to move into a fun conversation. And I want to start off with a quick word from our sponsor of today's video, because without them, we would not be doing a live show. And that is Kinesis. Kinesis is the new exchange that the bros have found. Listen, guys, this exchange is going to change people's lives. First of all, if you just want to buy crypto, if you want an on-off ramp to buy your crypto and you're tired of higher fees from other centralized exchanges, guess what? I've never found cheaper ways to buy crypto than Kinesis on the spot buying value. This is the number one way to do it, the cheapest way. Also, if you're into diversification the way I am, and you want to hold potentially digital gold or digital silver, but you want it backed by something accurately, there's not another place on the planet that actually backs their gold, their digital gold and digital silver with real things. Yes, if you go with Kinesis, and let's say you buy 1,000 ounces of gold, but then you decide, man, I want the real stuff, Kinesis will send you 1,000 ounces of gold in the mail. It's going to be a little difficult. It's going to be a heavy package, but they absolutely back up every single piece of gold that they give you in digital gold with the real thing. Also, when you hold gold or silver on their exchange, you can earn a yield up to 11% per month. When you hold it over there, you can sit there in gold and make money. There's no better place. If you want cheap crypto prices and you want to hold digital gold and be rewarded for it, go check out Kinesis in the link down below. You're going to hear a lot more about them from us in the future. We are so glad for them to be partners of the channel, and we thank them for sponsoring this video. Now, let's move into our fun segment here. Conversations about if altcoin season does start here. And again, we're going to get back into charts in a couple of minutes. We're going to look at those things. If altcoin season starts soon and we make our millions we've been talking about now for multiple years, if we start to just flood in the money, What are you going to do with it? What's your plan, right? If you don't have a goal or a thought process right now, I encourage you, create it. Because if you don't have those goals, you don't have those thought processes, if you don't have exit strategies, then you're going to end up round tripping the bull market like people did back in 2021, myself included. So what are you planning to do with your money? I want you guys to drop it in chat. I want to read a couple of your guys' thoughts, but I was going to tell you about me. I think, Smay is a time traveler. He actually found some photos of me in the next year and a half in front of some big purchases I plan to make. The first one, I've said this for a while, I want to buy a home. At the moment, my wife and I, we still rent, but we are literally probably less than a month away from baby number 2. I would love to buy a home next year. Smay found a picture of the new home I am going to buy. Why don't you bring that up for everybody here, Smay? This is a real photo of me. Yes, some of you say you've never seen me in a button-up shirt. Well, wait till I own a home. I will own a button-up shirt. Smay, what do you think of my new house? You like it? You a fan?
I think it's great. I think it's something that I would live in.
Yeah, this is an awesome house right here. And again, I think better than the house, my outfit, my future dress is definitely a winner. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely buying a home next year. The other thing, again, like I said, I'm a month away from baby number 2, and currently my vehicles, I have an SUV, which I love, a Ford. What is it? A Ford Explorer, I think. No, it's not an Explorer. What is it? I don't know. It's a big SUV, right? Family stuff, safe driving. It's a pain in the butt to get one child in and out of it. Just you hit your shins on the baseboard and stuff. When my wife has 2 kids, it's gonna be a nightmare. So I'm making the move here very soon. That dreaded move that every man says he's never going to do. I think I'm gonna have to go the minivan life. Smay, what will my minivan look? There we go.
There, right there. And guys, he's gonna switch to flip flops. Okay.
What a dynamic change
right
in
there.
outfit.
And he's gonna lose all his muscles. Okay, all his muscles gone.
Yeah.
No more.
Well, it's because I'm gonna be doing so much cardio chasing 2 children around.
Right. You're gonna switch to doing long distance running. Okay.
Exactly.
And guys, speaking of time traveling, I did a little bit of time traveling, forward into the future to see what he was up to. But I also went in the past. I wanted to see my ancestors, my great great grandfather. So I went ahead and found a picture of him. There he is.
Yeah.
That's him. Way back in the day.
Only the OGs will know about the Smayatang.
Anyways, for you, those who know, you know. But I think that's great. I think minivans are really underrated cars, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, listen, here's the deal. I actually am not like it's like this shameful thing men say about minivans. I always said I was going to do an SUV. I already have an SUV. Having owned an SUV, here's what I will say. And I grew up. My mom and dad had a minivan. That feature of a sliding door with children, underrated feature on a vehicle. Brody has already exchanged paint with several vehicles, opening and closing our doors on our cars. That sliding door, top 10 most underrated features of a vehicle very easily. Also, again, I told you, so because it's a bigger SUV, again, it's not a problem for me, but it's a pretty high step up. And again, we're gonna have 2 babies under the age of 3, right, in car seats. That's gonna be challenging for Taylor as she's operating when she has to do things by herself. Minivan being lower to the ground, she can get Brody get into the vehicle, put the baby in the car seat, go over and deal with Brody. Minivans are 10 times easier than SUVs. We will still have an SUV. I think what I'm going to be dropping is we have a SUV and a Nissan Altima. So our Nissan Altima is like our gas mileage vehicle. But I think we're going to be selling our Nissan Altima. If you guys want to buy it, let me know. It's a 2015 Nissan Altima. I think it has 166,000 miles on it, but great condition. We've taken good care of it. So if you guys are in the market for a Nissan Altima and you want to own the car that Tim owned, reach out to me because I do think I am selling that here soon and upgrading to a minivan. What are you guys going to be doing here? Let's read some chat for a second, and then we'll get in and do some technical analysis. By the way, over 1,000 people in here. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure to smash that like, hit subscribe. You guys are joining at the right time because we are about to dive into some altcoin technical analysis. Drop some coins you guys want to see as well. Minivans drive nice. You will like it, says Harley Z. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't think minivans are like the coolest looking vehicle in the world. But again, I'm getting that place in life where function takes top-notch priority. And I think the function of that minivan is going to be very, very helpful. Tim is way too big for an SUV. Thank you, Kankles. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. George Dudley says, I refuse to get a minivan when my kids were babies. I refuse to get a minivan when my kids were babies. Oh, man, you should have. Would have saved so much lives. Do you sell XRP at the end of the alt season? Will it be going up due to adoption? That's a good conversation, Mac, that maybe we should. I mean, I don't know if we should have a whole video about it or maybe a segment next week's show. Maybe we have time later in the show today. We'll see how we have coins. I think a segment on coins that should be long-term holds and not take profit at the top of the bull market. What I mean by that is some of you will know, and I think some of you are in the same boat. I have zero plan to sell a single Satoshi of Bitcoin at the top of the bull market, right? My Bitcoin is a long-term play. So I'll ride it with all the rallies. I'll ride it. I think the next bear market probably we see a 50% correction. I'll ride Bitcoin the whole way through that chaos. Altcoins, on the other hand, the majority of them, I plan on taking hefty profit and then looking to buy dips later in the year when I think, the bear market's over and we seem to be approaching some sort of bottom. But there are certain altcoins that really intrigue me that I potentially should put at least portions of them into the same boat with my long-term Bitcoin and not sell for a long time, right? You could very easily, let's go look at this, Bitcoin, I see these kinds of things all the time where people are like, man, if you had bought Bitcoin 9 years ago, you'd have this much money. Like $1,000 of Bitcoin 9 years ago, it's like $3.5 million. Well, the problem is most people look at let's go to the weekly chart. Most people look at these waves and say, yeah, man, if you had just bought Bitcoin way back here, let's say 2010, let's say 15 years ago, if you had bought Bitcoin below 10 cents, yeah, you would just have bucos of dollars, right? Be very wealthy. But you got to remember, like these people, anyone who bought at 10 cents and they get up here, over $1, start pushing towards $30, they're up 750%. It's very, $1,000, $750, $750,000, excuse me. Very hard to not want to take profit there, right? So yeah, you have these long-term holds, but you have this volatility that it makes sense why people wanted to sell and try to buy back in and sell and buy back in. But ultimately, it's absolutely right. If you had just bought back cheap, let's just even say you didn't buy it until 2013, right? So in 2013, you buy in at Bitcoin around, let's say $177, right? To now, if you would have bought $177 back here, we'll go $140, you're up 820%, 82,000%. But that doesn't mean you don't ride through a share of big volatile movements, but you could have made a lot of money, right? And so then the argument becomes, well, why sell now? Why don't you wait for $1 million? And if you bought in here at 140, 160, and you wait towards $1 million, all of a sudden you're up 5,700% on Bitcoin. And then it's like, why don't you wait till 10 million? Ultimately, the whole point is some people who just bought Bitcoin a long time ago and refuse to sell or is holding on, they are very, very wealthy right now. And are there altcoins out there that should be treated the same way? Is Ethereum ever going to be worth $100,000 and you could buy right now at 3,300 and that's a massive win? Could Chainlink someday be worth $10,000 per coin? You could buy right now at $16, right? These are coins that you have to consider, man. Is there any coins I should just ride volatility? And these things are so long-term beneficial to the future that I should just hold and ride the volatility and be crazy. I'm not going to talk about that today. I want you guys to come back. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We will either have a whole video or maybe a segment in another live show where we'll have a full-blown discussion on coins that you should hold long term. By the way, hopefully no one listened to what I just said, ETH to 100,000 or Chainlink to 10,000. I'm not saying that's my prediction, I would have to go down and do some math on reasonable expectation. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just no one take that and go spread that rumor that Tim's predicting a $10,000 Chainlink and a $100,000 Ethereum, right? Let's not spread rumors, everybody. Let's be responsible. Don't take my words out of context. And I say all this, tomorrow I will have probably a flood of messages and emails of people complaining that I'm ruining people's lives by these outrageous predictions. I apologize. All right. Let's look at some altcoins here, everybody. I saw a lot of things in chat here earlier. Smay, you're keeping your eyes on chat. You are the decider of things. You are the decider of what coins we will be covering. What are you seeing in chat that people want to talk about in the world of altcoin TA today?
Man, JASMY just popped up. JASMY, when was the last time we talked about JASMY? We got Render in the chat. You know what I mean? That's in the chat. When was the last time we talked about Render?
I have a very
Caspa
small
in the chat, SUI in the chat.
Okay.
You want me to decide?
You're the decider. I mean, whatever you say goes.
Guys, you know what? I haven't heard a lot about Caspa lately.
Caspa. Okay.
I know that's kind of out of left field a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like we haven't talked
Listen,
about it a lot recently.
everybody respect Smay. You know, if you guys try to go after Smay and insult him, you know, last week someone was trying to say you came out of rehab or something, Smay. We don't take
Hey,
we don't take Smay disrespect
I think
here.
he was just predicting my future with all these crypto movements. I
Yeah.
might have to go here soon, guys. I might have to go here soon.
Here's what I would recommend to you guys in chat. Because Smay is the decider, maybe you guys want to suck up to him a little bit. Maybe you guys want to say some I think Smay's the type of guy, if you say some sweet little words to him, he might choose your coin. So
You know what? He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
So,
So
whoever
be
says
nice
the
to
nicest
Smay.
thing about me is going to get the TA on their coin. Okay?
Yeah.
You got to be
All right.
creative, too. You can't just say, I like your beautiful eyes. 'Cause, I mean, everyone knows that my eyes are beautiful. But, you know, you'll have to come up with something unique. You know, you can't say, I love your hair thinning. You know, you can't say that.
Yeah.
Because that's backhanded. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyways, Tim, let's go ahead and take a look at Caspa.
So you're saying you can detect sarcasm in chat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So don't be sarcastic, everybody. And all right, let's do it.
Unless I like it. Unless I think it's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Be creative with your. All right. Here we go. Caspa. By the way, Caspa. I just watched Caspa get back up over 9 cents. It was at 0.8 something down here a second ago. Caspa still. Here's something to just be aware of. Caspa has not put in a higher high yet. Right. So technically, going back to the all-time high in July of 2024, we put in a lower high here in November, December, then another lower high in January, then another major lower high here in May. We have put in a higher low, right? So that is a good sign, right? April 7th was the low for pretty much all of cryptocurrencies. I'm not going to say all of them because technically some probably did go lower, but most crypto bottomed out with the pullbacks back in April, early April. But Caspa did come back up, put in another lower high, and now a higher low. So worst coming, are we creating a symmetrical triangle pattern here on Caspa that potentially you see something? Let's kind of draw this trend line, what this would look like. We probably could come in something like that. Is there a trend line coming in here that we're going to bounce back and forth continually? Let's break through that trend line. Ultimately, what you really want to see, let's get back above 13 cents on Caspa, and you're feeling bullish once again. I see Crux in chat. You guys know we love Crux. Speaking of Crux, after this show is over, we're going to redirect you here. Crux just put out a brand new video. It's going to be live here in 23 minutes. Breakout of XRP, Ripple became a bank, ETF and EVM sidechain explained. You don't want to miss it. Just stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't click off. You'll be automatically redirected to it. But you guys know Crux loves him some Caspa. And I own a Caspa bag, right? I'm not going to get on here and FUD this. Here's what I will say about Caspa. If you guys are just asking my personal perspective, I'm not as bullish as I was maybe a year and some change ago. I don't think Caspa has a massive institutional draw to it. So I don't know if it's going to get like a 30x, 40x, 50x. Could Caspa hit $1 and 10x from here? Sure. But I do think the long-term perspective of Caspa, I think Caspa is still a long-term play, right? We just had that conversation about what coins could go into a don't sell for 10, 15, 20 years. Hey, who knows? Caspa could be on that list. But if you're sitting here saying, man, I think Caspa is going to $5 this bull run, I don't think so. I don't think Caspa is going to do it. Let's just start Caspa. Let's get back above 13 cents. Let's get new all-time highs back above 20 cents. And then we can start talking about where the top would be. I'll say here, I'm not even guaranteeing $1, but I think $1 is still doable for Caspa in this bull market. Just I wouldn't necessarily put a lot of expectation and faith in it going a lot higher. And some of you probably shouldn't even wait for $1 to take profit. Some of you might want to take profit on Caspa even before that, you know. But for now, let's just focus on what we have going on here. We do have a buy signal out on the weekly chart with our favorite Lux Algo indicators. We don't talk about this enough. Guys, go get Lux Algo. This is the ultimate trading tool. We are crushing it. We lost one trade today. I'm totally transparent. Not everyone talks about the loss. We lost a trade today. We lost a trade and won a trade, but I lost a trade today. That was the first trade I'd lost using Lux Algo and the signals that we teach in 3 weeks. Lux Algo, and people aren't like, don't say, oh, Tim's this genius, right? Tim's just a wizard. I feel like I'm kind of smart, but ultimately, I am just a guy who learned how to do technical analysis. If I can learn how to do technical analysis, you can learn how to do technical analysis. I'm a guy who uses Lux Algo, which makes it 10 times simpler to get good buy and sell signals. I'll teach you how to utilize it if you're in our VIP trading group. Go sign up with Lux Algo, get 20% off today, and get the super powered indicator right now. We're getting a weekly buy signal with a green reversal, bullish momentum right there coming in here last couple of weeks, and positive money flow, right? The first positive money flow we've gotten in quite some time matching up with a buy signal. What would that suggest if the bullish rally can continue? That's why I'm going to price back up here. Guess what we talked about earlier? Get above 13 cents. This would imply 13 cents is on the menu, right? Over the long haul, next couple of weeks. After that, if we can break through that smart trail, which we do when things get bullish, you're going to keep an eye on that weekly red cloud up here. That one up above 20 cents. So a lot of perspective on that weekly chart. They're saying, hey, things can get very bullish very fast. But that's the long-term perspective. What about shorter term? What's the daily chart kind of saying to us? We got this big buy signal. This is one of the things that you would look at here. You could have traded this very easily. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. You could have bought in here on KASPA very confidently back in here around 7 cents. And your goal, you would have traded this up to 8.79 cents. Sure enough, good trade right there. We are running to some resistance right now. So what KASPA really needs to do, if it wants to continue this rally for the next couple of days, let's get a break above this daily smart chart right here, and all of a sudden we have some freedom to the upside. You're going to see we're also wrestling with a level that gave us some resistance back in June twice, right? We were in this little trading channel right here that we're right back to this level. We rejected the other day. We're rejecting again. So there is heavy resistance here around 9.1 cents. I don't want to tell you it's not. If we can break it all of a sudden, then we have a pretty confident run all the way up for KASPA to get back above 13 cents. And that's just the beginning of a very explosive bull run. So there's your KASPA technical analysis. Thank you to Lux Algo for that as well. What else? Smay, you're the decider of things. Who's been saying nice things to you, and what coin is next?
People have been buttering me up, Tim. They love my teeth. So, JASMY. Let's go with JASMY.
All right. The JASMY community is a big fan of Smay. You love to see it. We're going to spend a lot of time here today focusing on some larger charts. If you guys, again, I'll say it again, if you guys want to see some smaller ones, we are trading all the time, day trading, scalp trading, swing trading. If you don't know what that means, we teach all that in the VIP trading group. I'm going to focus on some more macro perspectives for you guys today. Not everyone in here is a trader. Some of you guys just want to buy and hold and do some longer term swing trading. What we have going on, you're going to see this across the board. These buy signals are coming in. Now, technically, we'll do a little teaching here. Technically, this buy signal hasn't triggered just yet. I like what I'm seeing here. I like that we had a green reversal back here. I like that after a little bit of some volatility, we have we're under another green dot, green momentum. And we call this a bubble, right? So when you see this big, I also, by the way, I changed my settings to green on the bottom, around the top. It's a long story. I explain it in my VIP trading group. There's a bubble forming right here, a bullish bubble where the money has been flowing out for a long time, and we had excessive sellers in JASMY pushing the price to the downside. But you're seeing a rounding bottom right here that when it goes up, it can go up very fast. And the analogy I love to use, and you guys have heard me say this a lot, imagine you're in a swimming pool with a basketball, fully inflated basketball, and you push that basketball underwater. Okay. As long as your hands stay on top, that ball's staying underwater, and you can push it all the way down to the bottom of the pool. What happens the minute you release the ball? Does it just casually, slowly drift back up to the surface? We're not talking about a piece of dry wood that just slowly floats back to the surface. What happens to that basketball? It shoots up out of the water. Well, that is what happens when you create bubbles like this. And so we are creating a bullish bubble on that weekly chart. The money flow has not yet crossed above this thin red line, which we call the bearish threshold. We do want to see that money flow cross above that threshold to officially launch this weekly buy signal, but it looks very much like we're on the cusp of it. As long as we keep moving in the bullish direction, JASMY should be targeting prices back up above 4 cents, right? We're right now at 1.6 cents. So you're not talking about a little 10% move, 20% move, 30% move. We are talking, even if you bought this second, somewhere in the world of 140, 150% move to the upside, spot trading. You don't even have to throw leverage on that bad boy. You can make 150% just spot trading on JASMY right here. We're going to a lower time frame. What's happening with the daily chart? Again, this one, we clearly had the buy signal back in here. Guess what we've done over here? We have broken through some resistance here. We're making moves to the upside. There's still, I know we're getting back up into the oversold territory on the RSI and the oscillators. I'm not saying we can't have some sort of mild correction, but there's no major bearish divergence here. We got a long road to the upside before I'd be worried about that daily chart. I think we are on the precipice right now of making moves on JASMY back up here towards 4 cents. This is not the top of the bull market. These are just trades that could happen in the next couple of weeks, definitely before the summer as altcoins heat up. But that's kind of what I'm watching right now on JASMY. So again, I still have a very small bag of JASMY. It's kind of my risky play here. It definitely has not had an amazing bull run so far, but I still have some expectations. This sucker could still get, even if it just matches. Let's just pretend we match former all-time high at 34 cents, right? Even from right now, which I think you could set a new all-time high, but you're looking at a 20x if it just goes back to former all-time high. And again, I'm not telling you guys to hold that long. I'm not promising you it gets there. I'm saying I think it could. Continue to do your own research, do your own financial advice, but that is what you're looking at. JASMY's in a great potential probability situation where shorter term trade, next couple of weeks, you're looking at 100%, 50% move. Longer term, if you just sell at all-time high, we're looking at 20x on your investment. Don't go mortgage your house. Don't go drop 50% of your portfolio on JASMY. But if you want to find a little 0.5%, 1%, couple $100 to maybe a couple $1,000, depending on your portfolio size, into JASMY for a 20x, that's what I'm looking at right there. All right, Smay, we got a couple more minutes here.
Do you want to do one more?
15. We have 15 minutes, and we'll read chat. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people want to do a lot of altcoin TA. We can cover. Here's what I'll say, Smay. Definitely, let's take a look at some of the ones the community loves. You choose, right? But I'm thinking the SUIs, the ONDOs, the Cardanos, the Chainlinks, the XRPs, the Solanas, the Ethereums. Let's not just do obscure coins. Let's do some ones that the community as a whole wants. But you still,
Tim, are you accusing me of picking obscure coins? Because you didn't even know what I had queued up. You didn't even know what I had queued up.
At this point in time, the evidence would be damning you picked obscure coins.
You didn't even know what I had queued up. You ready?
All right.
SUI.
Wow. What a guy. Yeah, you picked the one coin that's really not doing much today. Good on you.
Well, and you know what? Because that's what everybody wants to know about. Okay, there we go.
Listen, I love SUI. Love SUI. SUI's made some big moves here. I made a video 2 weeks ago where we talked about the short-term move back up to $4. Check mark, right? If you had that, if you made that trade, take your profit, you're good to go. We talked about the longer-term move, right? This was Raoul Paul talking about talking about the significance of this symmetrical triangle pattern. This symmetrical triangle pattern, ladies and gentlemen, if it is a symmetrical triangle and if people use it, I've made a price prediction video on SUI. I've told you what I think SUI is capable of getting to in this bull market. This isn't quite to that level, but this suggests alone, there's technical analysis out there that would suggest a $45 SUI. Guess what SUI has done this week? SUI has broken above this trending level of resistance for the first time since back here in January of 2025. Massive bullish move here for SUI. Now, again, today is not necessarily the most explosive coin, but SUI is one of those coins that it can get on a run and it can get very special very fast. Again, if we make a similar move, explosive move like we did back in August of 24 into December of 2024, and short term too, it didn't even take that long. August to December, 5 short months. Is that 4? Maybe it's 4. Bad on my math there. Things can go crazy really fast. Now, I would say don't expect a $45 if it happens, right? Let's be very, very clear here. No guarantee we get to $45. Some people are more comfortable with like $20. That's okay. If you want to take profit at $20, be my guest. I think 45 is doable. I would not say expect that by September. I would not say expect that by end of year. I would say $45 is a target to look at in 2026. All right. But that's kind of that long-term move. In the short term, again, just like almost everything else on the menu, and again, we talked about this a while ago, but weekly buy signals coming in, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. That has targets on the short term up here between $5 to $6. So a lot of room left on that one. The daily chart, I think this is one that smashed through. Yeah, we broke through daily smart trail movements here a while ago. We are running into some shorter term resistance we told you about around the $4 mark. We're in that red cloud space, but even this one, this is another one. We did get back up above 70. We're technically in overbought territory, but we don't have any glaring bearish divergence. There's still a lot of, like, the RSI could just live in the overbought spot while the price action keeps going to the upside. So I still have some trades open. I did take some light profit on my swing trades here at $4, but I have some other positions still on the table between the $5 to $6 mark to look for my next level of take profit with some swings that we have going on. But SUI, again, like I said, we'll take a quick look here at the shorter term. You can see it stayed boring here. While everything else has kind of been pumping here today, doing some stuff, SUI's just decided to camp out here at the $4 mark. What do we call it when you camp out? It's not falling back. It's not pulling back. It's camping out. Another word for that is called consolidation. If you don't know what consolidation is a period either in the bullish trend, if you've been rallying for a while, you need to consolidate, right? You can't just stay bullish forever. You can't just stay with these massive bullish candles for a long period of time. You've got to do one of two things. Number one, you got to pull back, right? So here, back in July, we rallied up to 350, had a little bit of a pullback, then continued. The other thing is you can just consolidate. Let the bulls kind of gather themselves together. Maybe they take a little bit of profit, but they want to buy back in. They're waiting for some more dry powder to come in. Consolidation is not a bad thing whatsoever. It absolutely could be just the beginning of another large move to the upside on SUI. So consolidating, good stuff here. I would say, do not be surprised if there is a correction. I think once you break these levels of resistance, it's very common to come back and retest them. Look where this 4-hour smart trail is right here. If we do start to develop, you can see our big bubble, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. It's not crazy to think that we could meet this rising 4-hour smart trail somewhere back into the world. Oh, I grabbed the wrong tool there. I meant to grab the marker. Somewhere back here in the world of former resistance turn support around 380, 370, 380. That zone, wouldn't be surprised for us to come back, bounce, and then make our move to the upside. So whether you want to add to your bag now or whether you want to wait for some sort of big breakout movement of a pullback first, don't be surprised. I would be a buyer of more SUI back around 380. Okay. Which, speaking of, before I go to SME, and we have about 9 minutes left here, I think it's a good time to talk to people. I've been saying this to our VIP trade group now for a couple of weeks, but I'll tell you guys as well. I'm not officially calling altcoin season, but once again, if you go back to my chart here, Bitcoin dominance is falling. I will feel extremely confident about altcoin season when we get down here below 62%. I'll go back into my guys, altcoin season is here mode, right? We've been faked out a little bit. I thought altcoin season, let me turn this off, this noise. I thought altcoin season was official back here when it was in line with the 4-year cycle. Back in November, we started to collapse. We had a big pullback on Bitcoin dominance. I told you guys I thought it was altcoin season. I was wrong. We ended up rallying. I will say once again, I will declare altcoin season when we get below 62%. All right. And that doesn't mean I'm calling it early. I'm kind of reacting to it, but that's when I'm confident. That's when I have confluence. With that said, that doesn't mean I don't start making moves like altcoin season is here. What does that mean for me? Some people are going to try to sell some of their Bitcoin and exchange it for more risk on assets like altcoins. I'm not selling a single Satoshi on my Bitcoin. I'm not going to exchange it. But what about my DCA money? Some of you might say, like, when you hear me say I'm buying more crypto, I have a budget. I've been very open about this. I have a budget. I have an income, and I do not use all of my income every month. I have a certain percentage of it I save for dry powder to buy more dips. I have a certain percentage of it I put towards savings, for just in case. Even though I hate the US dollar, the dollar's not dead yet. It's going to get there, but you gotta be wise with your money. I have been buying Bitcoin over the last couple of months. I've still, part of my DCA strategy, part of my dry powder, I've been buying altcoins and a little bit of Bitcoin. But what I'm seeing right now is causing me, moving forward, I am not buying any more Bitcoin. My current Bitcoin portfolio is what it is for now. I will buy more Bitcoin during a bear market or a massive pullback, right? I will buy Bitcoin when it looks like altcoins are done running for the long haul. But for now, 100% of my DCA money moving forward for the next couple of months, at least, will be into altcoins, not into Bitcoin. And that's because I am anticipating this big breakdown is the beginning, could be the beginning of altcoin season. And therefore, during altcoin season, why buy Bitcoin instead of buying the assets that are doing better? And then guess what you do? When altcoins start to top out, you take profit from your altcoins and you go buy Bitcoin. That's my strategy. You don't have to follow it. That's not financial advice. That's what Tim is doing. I know a lot of you like to know what I'm doing. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible 100% of the time to help you guys make money because that's my goal. Yes, I have a business. Yes, we have a channel. Yes, I want to see Investing Bros get to 1 million subscribers. Yes, I want to have a business where I make a lot of money, where T-Shroom makes a lot of money, where Smay makes a lot of money, where Crux makes a lot of money, where we hire more and more people to build this company. But you want to know what I want more than that? I want to be known on YouTube, on the internet, as the most honest, integral guy who really wants to see people succeed. I want to see you make money. I tell people, by the way, in our VIP trading group, if someone reaches out to me and says, man, I've really been struggling, I'm losing money, this is really hurtful, I don't say, well, you're not trying hard enough, or just keep going. I tell people, hey, maybe it's time for you to leave the group. I don't want you to spend $40, $100. I don't want you to spend money in my group if I'm not helping you, right? I feel like we've helped hundreds of people, if not thousands at this point. I think a lot of people benefit from us. But if for some reason there's something about us not jiving with you and you don't learn from us, don't give me any money. Don't pay me. I want you to find somebody out there that you can learn from, that is helpful, that brings you back into profit. That's what I care about. I just believe that we are able to do that in our group, and that's why we promote these things, and that's why we still exist as a company. So again, that's my goal. My goal is hopefully you guys in the future, if you don't already right now, when you think of Tim Warren and Investing Bros, you say, man, he's not always right. He's not perfect, but dang, he's honest, and dang, he's integral, and I love what they're about. That's my goal for this channel. All right. XFP Timster, Tim Warren, this is one of the best shows on YouTube. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm very glad you guys think that. Let's do this, Smay. Last coin of the day, Smay's choice. What do you got for me?
Well, here's the thing, Tim. Lots of people have been saying lots of different things, and lots of things that don't necessarily fit within the criteria of the coins that you told me.
Okay.
But I have seen a few people mention, I'll say 2 different coins, and you pick. Okay? How about that?
Okay, so now you're putting this back on me. I see what you're doing. You're making me the bad guy.
Yep, exactly. So there was XRP.
All right.
Okay. And I saw a couple ONDO. What are you thinking? XRP and ONDO?
We have a whole video that I really haven't updated a lot of thoughts from XRP for macro technical analysis. So everybody go watch the XRP video. It's still, even though we've hit the first price chart I talked about in that video, there's still a lot more there. I'm going to go with ONDO. XRP, we talk about a good amount anyway. And we talk about a lot of these coins all the time. If you guys are in our VIP trading group, you can always ask me to do random coins. Let's do ONDO though. Go to my screen here. ONDO is one of the coins that I really love long-term. Right. Fundamentally, I really struggle. I say I have a 3 big horsemen. I'm not apologetic about this. I think if someone asked me, Tim, what 3 coins should I buy right now? It is so hard for me to choose anything over ONDO, Chainlink, and SUI. Right. Not saying those are the greatest returns on your investment. Some other coins might outpace them. Not saying that means those are the only 3 that are good. There's so many good altcoins that are fundamentally strong out there. I just think when you're taking in risk to reward ratios and looking at the fundamental futures and tokenomics and everything else, it's really hard for me to pick any coins over those 3. I don't only own those 3. There's just 3 I love. ONDO, of those 3, Link has been moving recently. And obviously SUI is a special coin. One of the top movers in the bull market so far. ONDO is getting its game in act. You know, what did I say there? It's getting its butt in the game. Let's go with that one. It is starting to make some moves. It's still technically in a bear trend, right? We have not put in a higher high or a higher low since back here in the highs of December 2024. Okay. Now, what we have done, we have broken out of a falling wedge pattern. Let's go to the 12-hour chart here. We have broken out of this falling wedge pattern. This has targets, by the way, back up to $2.13. So more than a 2x from here on a simple short-term trade next couple of weeks. The weekly chart kind of backs this up, where I don't even have to show you the oscillator. We have a buy signal. It gives me target somewhere here on 174. I like a potential move at least back up to former all-time high, back towards 212, okay? What I really want to see it do, though, I really want to see it set a higher high and get above $1.11. So again, I'm bullish on ONDO. I've been buying ONDO. I've been trading ONDO. We have a swing long on ONDO in our VIP trading group. I will feel 10 times better when we get above $1.11 and we see the bullish structure match. When we see the bullish structure make the charts match my perception of its long-term move, that will be a very, very big thing. So very big win here for ONDO to break through that level and start to make that move back to the upside. Let's go here. Daily chart. I love that we smashed through that resistance. Again, that resistance on the daily chart matching with the trend of resistance. We just smashed through that smart trail. We got moves to the upside here for certain. I really do think, again, if you want to take profits early, I'm a big believer. Here's another thing I do in trading. I just made a video about some trade tactics. Let's say you're looking anywhere between 170 to 212. Don't be hesitant to take some profits somewhere in the midway point around $1.30 or so, right? Let's say you enter a long right now and you do some sort of trade like this. If I can do this correctly, if I can grab it correctly, let's move my stop loss just back up to a little bit below the support level, right? So let's say that's my trade setup. I probably would put a TP1 somewhere here on $1.30-ish area and say, I'm going to make sure I lock in profit. When it hits that, I'm probably raising my stop loss into the break-even spot here, right? We have entries back down here towards 70 cents, but let's just say you're jumping in now. I would put a TP1. Half my profit comes off at this level. Put the rest of it up to break even. I just let the house money ride. If we make $2 before pulling back, great. If we don't, I'll regroup, get to buy another dip on ONDO long term. But that's how I'm kind of treating this right now. I still have that trajectory as altcoin season looks to be heating up. By the way, watching Bitcoin dominance come down here, 63.09, 63.09. That Bitcoin dominance is still falling. If that keeps happening, if ONDO and Chainlink and Ethereum and Solana and XRP and all the others, if they keep rallying and that dominance keeps falling, it just will continue to make me so very bullish and expectant of big moves starting off with $2 on ONDO. After that, man, short term, at least 9. Bull market top, at least 9. I've told you 15 to 20 is probably my zone of where I feel most likely a bull market top will happen. But there's a world in which 45 gets hit in this bull market. I don't know if I'm waiting for that, right? But I still am very bullish on this coin. And I'll tell you, this is the last thing. We're going to wrap up the show here in a second. There's two ways to look at coins that have had a bad looking chart in the last couple of months. Number one, you can say, man, this coin sucks. It has no bullish momentum. I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. You can do that. You also can say, man, for a coin with such strong fundamentals and adoption, it's so low. This is an amazing opportunity. If I'm right, just about $9, right? If we're just right about $9, we're talking about a 9x. If I'm right about 15 to 20, let's just put it on here on $18. If I'm right about $18, we're talking about a 18x on your investment. It's hard to find larger cap coins with those types of gains on them. I think ONDO is one of them. So big proponent of ONDO. Guys, that is going to wrap it up here today. You can go off my screen here, Smay. Thank you so much for producing the show. T-Shroom will be back in the office tomorrow. He'll be back on the live show next week. He is moving this week, so if you guys are asking about him, that is where he is. Give T-Shroom some love in chat. Give Smay some love in chat. Give the whole channel some love. Make sure on the way out, smash the like, hit subscribe. Last thing, again, stick around because we are going to be redirecting you to, it starts in 16 seconds, the XRP breakout. Ripple becomes a bank. This is from the Alpha Bros channel. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you over there. Smash like, hit subscribe. Adios.